WVUA-FM, Tuscaloosa.
Welcome in Tuscaloosa to your student section on this Wednesday night on WVUA 90.7 FM, The Capstone. We are back with another edition of Student Section Major League Baseball. I am Will Miller, joined tonight by my co-hosts,
Luke Torre
and Carson Keel.
And as per usual this time of year, we've got a lot to break down. But first and foremost, huge development in the American League last night. The New York Yankees slugger, Arron Judge, has gotten ever closer to the American League single-season record for home runs in a year. And last night, he hit the 60 benchmark, which he's the first player to do it since Bonds, I believe, to hit at least 60. And he's now 2 away from tying Roger Maris's record for home runs, or breaking it, rather. 61's the record. So he's 1 to tie, 2 to break. And he's playing tonight live right now on the MLB Network.
Yep, and he's doing a lot more than home runs. I got a tweet here from Jim Bowden that came out earlier today. He is on pace for the quintuple crown. He's leading the American League in average, 317, home runs 60, obviously. RBIs 128, on-base percentage 420, slugging 706. And by the way, B-WAR 9.7, F-WAR 10.5, OPS plus 214, WRC plus 210. It's the best single-season offensive production in baseball history against the game's best pitchers ever.
Well, I guess let me add on to that. Are we seeing possibly the greatest season for a player in all of baseball history?
Offensively, sure. I would be willing to admit
the debate is up there, yeah, 100%.
I mean, I can't think of another one. I mean, this Yankees team has had its ups and downs, but there's been one consistent, and Arron Judge has always been their best player. I mean, again, going to probably hit 62. I don't think it's a if he can. It's going to be a win. He's going to hit that. I think it's going to be probably by the end of this week.
He just struck out about 10 minutes before we came in here.
Yes, so we were kind of annoyed. We wish that we could get maybe at least something to kind of talk about. But, got to have that content, people. But still, it's always like, this is crazy. It's pure madness what we are seeing happening right in front of us.
And it's been even more heated by this free agency situation. I mean, I know we're beating the dead horse with this, but that's still a story. And people have now started to ignite even more discussion about Arron Judge's status as the year draws close to the postseason and we get closer to winter, closer to the times these decisions are going to be made. And, I mean, have we heard anything about extension talks?
We really haven't heard much, but I don't see any option other than the Yankees giving him a blank check. The Giants have been preparing for this for a very long time, and they are willing to give him everything. So the Yankees have to be willing to do it first.
You know who I think the teams that give him a blank check? Braves. I think they could use some offensive help, and just to get a little extra.
We don't do free agency like that, though.
It's depending on the agent.
It's not gonna. Oh, yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Will the agent tell Arron Judge about any prospective deals that are out there?
Yes. So they also need some outfield help. You could say, I mean, look, you got Ronald out there, but other sides, maybe. Then you have the Giants, you have the Yankees, you have the Boston Red Sox.
Ugh. God,
Could you imagine?
I would cry.
I think there's an above 25% chance he goes to Boston.
25%?
Really?
I say above. I
would like you to elaborate on that, Carson. I'm going to put you on the spot right now.
I would hate him forever.
I think Boston's going to have a super reactionary response to this past season. I mean, you go from the ALCS to the bottom of the AL East. There's going to be a big reaction from ownership, and if they think they can get Arron Judge away from the Yankees, they are going to give him a blank check. They're going to give him a private jet. They're going to do everything.
Carson, Boston is still in the red on cap. I mean, let's remember their cap situation.
I think they will I think they'll go above the tax if they have to. I think they will destroy their roster if they get the chance to find any way to get Judge on their team and to at least it's probably going to suck for 20 years, but I think they are willing to make such a change.
But what if it's not a long-term move, right? You have Judge, but if they keep missing the postseason every year they have him because they gutted the rest of the roster, what does it matter?
I mean, you also got to look at it this way, like Yankees' perspective. Letting him go is one thing. Letting him go to the Red Sox is another thing. If they know that they're a finalist for him, they'll give him even that much more to make sure he doesn't go to them.
Boston's a weird market. That's all I'll say. I think they're a team to watch. I think you're discounting them a little bit just because of the bias, but that's just me.
Could be.
So you said Braves, Giants, Yankees, Red Sox. Are those it? Or are there any other teams you see?
I can't think of any more really that would be willing to kind of pay the money.
Honestly, my two teams, I think if he leaves, he goes to the Giants. If he's not leaving, he's not leaving.
I don't see any situation where he goes and plays for the Red Sox. Just to be clear, that's my opinion on this. I don't think he'll go play for the Red Sox. I think if he wanted to go play somewhere that wasn't New York, it's obviously San Francisco. And so for that reason, they're probably the main threat in my mind.
Okay, hang on. I just had another one to pop up in my head. Angels.
That's disgusting.
Oh my God! If you put Shohei Ohtani, Arron Judge, and Mike Trout on the same team,
and then watch them go, 74 wins,
still miss the playoffs
let's say
somehow.
again they're exploring a sell of the team. Let's say they happen to find an owner in the offseason, pure luck, and this owner is willing to pay.
That's 129 home runs between three guys this year, by the way.
Wow. The Angels.
It's got to be more than the Tigers have hit. Is that more than the Tigers have hit?
Judge has more than the Tigers have hit.
Someone find that out.
No, I'm not kidding. That's a true stat.
I think the Tigers have only hit like 40.
Arron Judge has way more than the Tigers have hit.
That is the most offensively inept team at any sport, skill for skill, that I have ever seen in my life.
All right, but back to the Angels getting Judge. I just popped in my head. I'm thinking it probably would suck. And you're probably going to have to cut somebody. Trout probably might need to
go to Philly.
Yeah, or go somewhere else if they need to make this move. But imagine that. That would be. I think that legitimately takes the Angels to a playoff, at least projected area.
Carson, the Angels. The reason the Angels have missed the playoffs is because the Angels have not had starting pitching. Like with the other free agents the Angels have signed, the pitchers have not worked out.
Right.
They just dealt Noah Syndergaard off. Did he go to the Phillies or the Blue Jays?
Phillies, I want to say.
Okay, deadline.
Okay.
Like he hasn't made any noise.
Judge is not quite there. The Tigers have 95.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he's not making that.
Well, it's
playoffs. You never know.
Yeah, guys. All right, let's watch Arron Judge hit
40 more,
69 home runs in the playoffs.
Yeah.
I think Arron Judge will not get that many home runs. He will not get, what number did you say? How many home runs did the Tigers have?
95.
Yeah, he's not going to hit 65 home runs in the playoffs. He's not going to hit that many, but if he did, it'd truly be inspiring.
Yes.
But I believe, honestly, that the only teams in contention are the Yankees and Giants. I mean, I already said that longhand in the last talking point, but that's just unequivocally where I stand. There are teams that are threats, but it's one team singular, and it's San Francisco. And I love how Orioles Twitter spent most of the back half of July acting like he was going to be a future Oriole because Mike Elias has been talking about how they're going to play the free agent market.
Oh, man.
It's always weird. Remember the Twins? Who thought they were going to sign?
Correa is so gone from there after this year.
I mean, 100%. But, I mean, no one thought it was going to be the Twins. Everyone thought it was going to be either
Tigers.
Yeah, Tigers or someone like that who's going to be back with Finch. But
I thought it was going to be Yankee. As much as I did not want it, I despise that guy with a passion in my heart.
Who doesn't?
Well, I mean, look.
I guess we just don't know the facts.
Yeah, I mean.
So we gotta.
Yeah, you mean, look. What we're going to have to do is basically kind of wait. I think that this is going to be probably the craziest free agent chase for a player.
Hopefully it's not going to be as slow, though. Let's remember 2019 because that was the first year I started watching baseball. And that was the year that Trout, Machado, Harper had sat on the shelves just forever. And I don't know if Trout ever became a free agent. But guys like that, Dallas Keuchel too is not on the level of those guys. I mean, he was unsigned for most of the year also.
Until he went to the Braves, yeah.
And so that was just such a slow year. And I just hope with some of the names that are going to be out there this offseason, not just Arron Judge, also, Carlos Correa. It's going to be a couple others, particularly at the pitching market also. Jacob deGrom, is a great example. I don't know. Snell's not. We've had that conversation.
Yeah, no, he's next year.
But I just hope it moves fast. And with no lockout foreseen this time, praise be. we can get some real moves, early on and leading into spring training that we didn't get last year, 2019, or other slower years.
Yeah, I mean, look, this is probably going to be the biggest free agent market overall in the past decade. I can't think of another big one in the recent history. So we're kind of just in wait and see mode on that.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be the biggest agony for Yankees fans. I don't know if Giants fans are overly pressed about it. I don't know. Their organization is kind of in the doldrums right now, and they haven't been willing to go after prize free agents because of the price tag, and I don't think a lot of Giants fans would be surprised if they held with that approach, although with Arron Judge, I think you make an exception. Their players make an exception. People were talking about Juan Soto going to St. Louis, and obviously that's not the way St. Louis operates, but as good as Juan Soto is at his peak, that's a move you kind of have to at least take a flyer on.
Yeah.
Which I think they did, by the way. But you have to consider, if you're the Giants, what you're getting in Arron Judge. And if you have not been seeing him this season, and if you've not been knowing what he's been doing, looking at the way he's helped this team that has not been all aces this year, that has not been 100% in the lineups, injury-wise and in other ways, I think you would definitely at least give his agent the phone call. Yeah. I mean, I think you'd almost be foolish.
Well, and then even if if you're not really going for him, you drive up the price at least. So you screw with another team, even if it's in your division. All right, you're paying him more now. So
good point.
Yeah, well, and you've got to, if you're the Giants, and I know I have not really gone much to the Yankees side on this, I apologize, but if you're the Giants, you got to think your division is trying to build juggernauts.
Yeah.
And you have to have something to compete with that. And you know what?
Imagine how stacked that division would be. You got the Padres, you got the Dodgers,
and
you had Arron Judge to that division.
But for one single player to go over to the National League and be one of the best players in baseball, that is a big addition, even if it's just one guy, because he is the top 5 player in baseball right now. And the Giants don't have any of those. I mean, you can only trot out Logan Webb once a week, and he can pitch 7 innings all the live long because that kid is good. But if you can't score and you can't defend in the infield, you're going to do what the Giants have done this season. You're going to meddle and you're going to lose.
And then here's the $500 million question: does Judge repeat this same type of season, or does he have something even close?
Honestly, I think people are going to wonder that, but I think that with what he can do defensively, he kind of offsets some of the fact that he's not going to hit 60 home runs every year.
It's hard to expect a guy to hit 60.
Yeah.
A year.
I mean,
what he can do defensively offsets the offensive concern, because he can hit 35, 40 home runs a year easily.
I think 100% you can expect.
For a team like the Giants, that type of production you are okay with, because you know what? Look, I like Darren Ruff. I like Darren Ruff a whole heck of a lot, but Darren Ruff, all respect to the man, is not the guy you want as your number 1 power bat.
Yeah.
I could tell you one thing, what you could expect from Arron Judge every year, year in and year out, you can expect a 5-tool player who will probably hit around 300 now going forward, who's
at least in the
a
290s.
clutch and a leader. So.
Well, let me rephrase my question then, because I wasn't trying to question his abilities. I'm not trying to do that at all. Yeah. Are teams going to pay him based on this season, or are they going to pay him based on his past and this season?
I don't know how it's hard not to pay him based on this season. I was telling Luke a few days ago, I don't know how many, but I was telling him, we're watching the Pujols home run chase. We're watching the Judge home run chase. We're seeing that unfold concurrently. I don't think enough baseball fans are truly understanding the gravity of the fact that we're seeing things that are going to be in the record books forever. This is not just one great season. It is a great season, but it goes so much further beyond just one great season that you have to have that as a prevailing factor when you decide whether or not to sign that paycheck.
Yeah. I mean, look, and to be fair, also that one of those people are retiring at the end of this season. So it's kind of something I think that it's going to be probably a factor on paying the man, which he's going to get paid. But I think that's, people should not expect he's going to get $1 billion. He's not. And there needs to be some realism.
The floor is $350.
Yeah, I mean, that's very much a good floor. I'm saying his cap's probably about $650 million. I think he could get one of the big.
How many years? How
Lord.
many years?
12
What,
or
like 19?
Yeah, I mean, I'm serious. I think he's going to get one of the biggest contracts.
I mean, he's like 26,
No,
right?
he's 30, 31.
Oh.
31.
Oh, I didn't know he was that. Okay, no. Then $650 million is off the table.
Remember, he
Then-
got called up when he was 24. and
Yeah, he is
He's
30.
been in the league since 2017.
Yeah, well, on that note, on that shocking note, we're going to take things to our first break. And when we come back,
Like, what?
we are going to preview a very important series in the National League East, the Atlanta Braves and the New York Mets. Keep it here on 90.7 The Capstone.
WVUA-FM, Tuscaloosa.
Welcome back, Tuscaloosa, to Student Section MLB here on WVUA 90.7 FM, The Capstone. I am Will Miller, joined today by
Luke Torre.
and Carson Keel.
And as promised, we're coming out of this break with a preview of a series that's going to start next Friday. And if the chalk holds, is going to determine the playoff seeding in the National League in a big way. And of course, we are talking about September 30th to October 2nd, the Atlanta Braves in Truist Park against the division-leading New York Mets. This is a big series. It's looking like neither team really wants to give up much ground right now. It's still a one-game division.
Yeah, one game.
The Mets are in the lead. The Braves had a chance to tie today and lost in choking fashion to the Nationals. Anyway, big series starting on Friday, September the 30th, and this is what baseball is all about when you get down to it. When you get to all these conversations about postseason races, these are the games that really matter. Guys, early thoughts.
Yeah, one thing to keep in mind, you got to look at who the teams play before they play each other. You know, Mets play the Athletics for 3, Marlins for 2, and then they play the Braves.
All winnable beforehand.
And the Braves play
Phillies and the Nationals both at their respective teams. So, again, those are winnable also. Phillies could be a little bit tougher, but still, I mean, this series, both, and let me state this. The Braves clinched last night to go into the playoffs, Mets the day before. So both of these teams, because of how crazy they have been playing this second half of the season, are in the playoffs no matter what happens. That's something to also look at. This series that we're talking about that's going to happen starting the 30th of this month. I mean, it's a playoff series technically, but it's for seeding at this point. It's not for who can get in, who's going to be out, because both of these teams are playing so well. It's crazy.
Yeah, and I think that this is a series that the crowd's going to matter. The Braves have had huge crowds since winning that World Series, and it's going to come into play. The Mets crowds have been fantastic, and I think it's going to continue. And the Mets are a great team. I don't know what effect that's going to have on them, but I think there's going to be an effect. It's going to rally the Braves a lot more than you might have seen if they were anywhere else, obviously. I mean, that's home field advantage in a nutshell, but it's going to push the Braves over the edge. You have a close game, maybe that, they rally, they fight a little bit harder, have that one extra thing kind of go their way, and that is going to make all the difference in these games where one game hinges on the playoff outcome for the National League bracket.
I mean, look, the National League bracket compared to the AL one is still constantly moving. It's kind of every day we see some kind of either a minor change or we're leading up to close to a major change. It's kind of insanity how looking at the NL and the AL playoff wise. So that's something we're just kind of have to wait. And it's weird that usually we're able to kind of predict this and have an idea where things are going. We have no idea. We're kind of looking at a future that we can't really look into. So this is kind of like the weirdest like kind of way of saying we have no idea what's going on because who knows. So that's something that we're going to have to kind of keep an eye on and just kind of watch.
I don't know. The Braves have played well against the Mets for the most part at home this season, and that's encouraging to me as a Braves fan. Hopefully we show up on Sunday because, day game.
Yeah.
And I may laugh, but that's a legitimate concern I have. We are abysmal in day games. I would sooner trot out Gwinnett and expect a good result. And the guys on Gwinnett are obviously very high-level baseball players, and I don't mean that as a slight to them. I might just as soon trot them out during an Atlanta Braves day game and see how it goes because the Braves have the yips during the daytime.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you're not really Braves fan. You're a New York's guy,
Yeah.
but I mean, what's your thoughts on all this?
I mean, who doesn't love division race? I mean, come on, down the stretch, first place playing second place, one game behind. It's the best. Everybody's interested in this. So, I mean, I'm super excited to get to watch something like this, and I can't wait.
Gotta love the Yankees watching the Mets lose.
Oh, yeah, well, of course. But, I mean, I can't wait. I hope it's tied right when it starts. That would be the best scenario.
And now MLB has to do math again, and we know how that's gone in the past.
Not too
plus 2 equal 4.
Nah, guys, I had a bad math mistake the other day, and I know it's a little bit off topic, but I need to pull up exactly what I did because it was an addition error, and it was really bad.
I'd be doing that sometimes, though.
I will
I'd be doing
preface this
7
by
times
saying
6 just to make sure on the calculator.
the last 10 days that I have had have been very stressful. So I say that fully as an excuse. I added 2, 6, 7, 5, and 4. And the answer to that question is 24. I got 19.
Okay.
And don't know where that really came from. But this is how my math skills are going these days. And I'm an MLB show, host. So we can only imagine how the real MLB is doing when it comes to things like this. So to just make it easier on everybody, I think the Braves should just sweep the whole way out and convincingly win this thing for the people so they don't have to be subjected to my math.
Hey, we want drama.
Or to anyone else's
We
math.
want drama.
I agree. The Braves should just win every single game. Teams should just forfeit, including the Mets. There we go. That's how we're going to...
No fun. We want drama.
And the best part of this is 2 things. The Mets get to lose to the Padres machine in the wild card because we know postseason Juan Soto is something else.
Mm-hmm.
And 2, no one has to be subjected to math of any kind.
Yeah.
It's a win-win worldwide. And I don't...
Speaking of Juan Soto, how do you guys think he's going to do on the Padres in the postseason? Obviously,
I think he's going to wind up showing up in the postseason.
I'm not hot.
picking up where he left off.
I think the Padres have made. I won't say it's a bad move because who knows? Maybe another season acclimates and he finally gets there.
If he turns out to suck for the next 2 years, they still don't have a buttload of money they owe him because they can just let him walk.
Yeah. So I mean, it's going to be interesting. Maybe he does, but I'm just not getting it.
I mean, some guys just got that playoff gene in them. I mean, who knows? If he does, maybe it'll trigger him to spark a rally next season and get back to where he once was with the Nationals. That's where I see it going.
The Mets have set a record for most hit by pitch in a single season with today.
Okay, can we talk about that?
106. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Carson.
I am convinced that is like somewhat intentional and part of the game for them because I have never seen it. It's like if you look at the numbers, it's so much higher compared to every single team. There's no other way to say besides they're leaning into it a little bit.
I think Anthony Rizzo has been hit 106 times this year alone. That man gets hit with a pitch like every game.
Well, because it's these guys who their batting stance is like leaning basically into the plate.
Yeah.
And now for some of them, okay, that makes sense. But for the Mets team in general, like for them to have the highest overall, it's a little suspicious if you ask me. I think I'm not saying it's not a good strategy because it is. So you got a guy on first, but still, it just like why you're kind of hurting pitchers and you're hurting everybody in general when you're doing this just to get on first base.
Well, let's get down to the brass tacks. Predictions for this series, not just the game outcomes. Which players on either side are going to show up? What kind of pitching situations you think we're going to have? All the above. Just go all in on this series. Let's dissect it. Let's break it down.
I think it's a 4. Is it a 4 or 3 game series?
It's 3.
Okay, so there's going to be one pitching game. That's going to be one of the big ones. There's probably going to be an offensive blowout game. Hopefully the Braves do that one. And then there's probably going to be like a touchdown game where each team scores 7 runs. So it's going to be interesting. I think it's going to be a mix of kind of all baseball in general in that 3 games.
Who do you think wins the series?
Braves.
What's series margin? 2-1, 3-0?
I say 2-1's pretty fair.
Luke?
I say they're splitting.
It's 3 games.
Split.
Oh, I thought it was 4. My fault. I see the Braves coming out 2-1 then.
I would like to ask if the Mets can circumvent league rules by making a post-deadline trade for Astros reliever Hector Neris. Hector Neris may be the worst non-Brave relief pitcher
More
in
Hector
the
Neris slander.
in the history of Truist Park. Have I slandered him before
I
on
think
this
you
show?
have. I think
I don't
you
think
have.
so.
I didn't think
I
so.
swear you have.
I didn't. I probably,
Maybe,
it sounds
maybe
like
before
me.
or after the show when we were just talking.
It sounds
about
like me, but the worst non-Braves reliever for my money to ever step foot in Truist Park, Hector Neris, can he become a part of the Mets and they use him as the regular closer instead of Trumpet Man?
Oh. Okay, speaking of that trumpet, that thing's like starting to fall apart a little bit, might I add, because he's had a couple bad outings recently. So
We love to see it.
yes.
Luke, are you one of those Yankee fans that hates the Mets?
Honestly, no. Unless we're playing them, like I really have no reason to hate them. Like it's all the King of New York. I find that all BS. Like they're in the entire opposite league of the Yankees. That they don't affect me at all.
I say we move the Dodgers back to Brooklyn and get rid of the Mets.
I do not like that idea.
I was
but-
talking to a friend about that the other week. I know this is, again, me going off topic, but he said, and you live there, so you can attest to this more than me because I've never been in New York, but he said there's just no place to put a ballpark in Brooklyn.
Yeah, I mean, it would be tough.
Well, there is technically a ballpark in Brooklyn. The Brooklyn Cyclones, might I add, been to a game there.
There's a lot of there's a lot of minor league affiliates there too.
Is there one in
the
Manhattan where the
Yankees.
Giants used to play?
No, there's not.
Okay. I'm surprised by that a little
Judge
bit.
just had an at bat, just missed a home run. Ground will double down the left field line.
Oh, come on. We've about had record tying in this show.
He's
He's
2 for 3 in this game though with 2 doubles.
He might still be
keeps
able to
on
do it again.
battering.
What's the score?
It is 4-1 Yanks in the bottom of the 5th inning.
We can get you guys on some more live games updates after this next break, or maybe we can even
Yeah,
do it
we
going into
could
this next
head
break.
into the break. Yeah.
But that's not for another few minutes. In the meantime, we can talk some about this Atlanta Braves team and how well equipped we think they are for the postseason. Since we've all gone around the horn and we've just said they are likely to win the series against the Mets, and it's possible that they could then clinch the NL East from that. What are their strengths for the playoffs? I mean, starting pitching has been somewhat up and
I
down.
do have a question. I know you guys are both Braves
Yeah,
fans.
sure, yeah.
Do we have a timeline on Ozzie Albies' finger?
He's done for the year. They said they'll evaluate him to see about whether he'll be available at any time in the postseason. It is not looking good.
That is,
Yes.
2
was
games
tough.
after he came
Yeah.
That
back.
is so sad. You know, I did
Yeah.
see something though. The Braves announcer, I'm blanking on his name, but I mean the Mets announcer, I'm blanking on his name.
Yeah, he
That
said,
was messed up.
Yeah.
He said he
Oh.
was like happy to hear it that he was
okay.
out.
Can I go on a rant about S and Y?
Sure.
That dumpster fire of an organization. I'm sorry if there happens to be anyone listening that works for S and Y. I hate that broadcast.
Tell that guy he's classless.
Yes.
That was messed up. I did not like that. That was very classless. I don't know. Nobody
Yeah.
should be rooting on any injury in a professional sport, let alone anything. Like
I mean, how often
that is ridiculous.
How often do you hear about like other teams' broadcasts, like making fun of a player or talking bad about fans or like saying something like that? It's always S and Y. It's always the Mets broadcasters. Can we think of any other thing besides it's now a 4-0 ball game?
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, I gotta get that in there. Get that in there.
Oh, Lord. As there's a drive into deep left field by Castellanos. I was watching. I will say this, guys. I had that game on live, and I heard him say it. And I thought, did I hear that correctly? And then I just kind of shrugged it off, and I thought, nah, I'm full of it. But then, as it happens, I had some homework to do because I was still in online school at that time. I don't recommend it. And so I came back in the room, and that was when he was giving his apology.
I don't know when I'll wear this headset again.
And he then subsequently apologized to his bosses and to the beholders of his paycheck and all that.
Yes, but I mean, you just look. I am tired of S and Y. Can we please? Can the Mets just please dump them? Please burn that thing to the ground. Islanders, please. I think the Riptides at NLL also use them. Please, just tear that place apart.
Where do they go from there, though?
From
S&Y, do they try to encroach some of Yankee territory with The Yes Network?
Absolutely not.
I
no.
do not see
No.
that going over.
No.
Oh no.
That is ours.
So actually, speaking about this is actually really interesting.
We finally caused Luke to become impassioned about the
Yes.
Mets.
So,
We
did you
own
guys?
that network.
Did you
It is
guys?
Yankees Entertainment Services, not Mets.
But did you guys see that about Bally Sports, the original sports network? Did you see they're probably going to go bankrupt?
Yeah, I did. I saw that 2 days ago. I was surprised to hear that.
Well, did you hear about the potential buyers?
I did not.
There's rumor is a consortium of the NHL, NBA, and the MLB would buy the networks and they would just run them themselves.
No, I vote no.
So I actually am a yes, because that would probably end a lot of blackouts.
It would end or get a lot of blackouts.
Yeah.
Because that could serve as a substitute. I could say,
Right.
yeah, okay.
See, so because they're league owned, okay, we'll just sell them. Just sell the rights to ESPN
I
Plus.
like that. And then,
who
you can get an
cares?
app, and then if there's ever blackouts, you can watch them on that.
Yeah, actually,
Actually,
that's a good
I
thought.
like that. That's
You've
a good
sold me.
idea.
I kind of think back to the WWE Network, which was basically, they abandoned pay-per-view several
Yeah.
years ago, and then just had people pay a much smaller fee every month to get the same events, which I don't know if that could work.
Well, I mean, they also. I'm
They
also a
could
wrestling
contract
fan.
with local television networks. Teams could.
The issue is,
But-
I mean, there's none left really that are regional networks that are big. I mean, again, you're a Braves fan. You know the history, TBS. American.
Bring
team.
that back.
I would love that, but TBS is now a national network.
Who cares?
Yeah,
The
it's
Braves
just-
are a national brand.
Yeah, I mean, I tell that to Liberty Media, but still, it's just.
Liberty Media, I got words for Liberty Media.
Here we go.
I got words for Liberty Media because they, in my mind, set a bad precedent by not, and I know it wasn't all them, but not offering Freddie Freeman a contract in season. The way they handled that whole thing.
Yeah, that was.
I have words for Liberty Media that I just can't say over the radio because I would like to
Now,
keep my
also,
job.
hang on. Let's play devil's advocate.
No.
The Braves have been a very leak-proof organization, and they leak stuff when they clearly want that out. Do you think there was maybe an offer given?
No, I don't, because I think even if there was, Casey Close wouldn't have told them about it.
Do you
this
think-
is the fault of it that's Casey Close?
Do you think that when that news came out prior to Freddie Freeman leaving,
What news?
with the news of Freeman and Acuna having so-called beef, do you think that had anything to do with that getting out?
I do not, because I heard shortly after we won the World Series that Freddie said to Acuna, doing it next year with you.
Really?
I did hear that. And
Yeah, that was said.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
And so I didn't buy much merit to that. And especially when Acuna had commented under the post, I never said that.
With the clown emoji.
Uh-huh.
He was
And,
like, I never did that.
I never thought there was much weight to that, and I don't think it factored into Freddie's decision to leave.
Yeah,
May I add? I love
Yeah.
I love when like guys who don't speak the greatest English tweet. He responded.
"I
He
never
said,
say
I
that."
never say that with
Clown
the clown
emojis, yeah.
emoji.
Yeah, it's. You hate to be hard on the guys because of course
I
they're
love it,
learning.
though.
They're
I love
learning
it.
the
I love
English,
it.
But it's just like it's like the Yankees lose.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
It's that famous. It's
Yeah,
that one.
yeah.
So
So
before we get to our next break, we're going to go to Luke. He is going to share our live scores from around the league for the games right now.
All right, we got Yankees on top of the Pirates 6-1 now, following a couple hits from Gleyber Torres and Josh Donaldson. We got the Reds on top of the Red Sox 4-1. Marlins on top of the Cubs 3-1. Astros trail the Rays 2-1 in the bottom of the seventh inning there. Blue Jays and Phillies are scoreless in the sixth. Tigers trail the Orioles 3-0. Bottom of the sixth inning there. Rangers trail the Angels 2-1 in the bottom of the second, still early. Cardinals, White Sox. Cardinals are on top there. And then Giants, Rockies are in a rain delay. That's what we got going on there.
How about that Cubs tweet? Yeesh. We'll talk about that and a lot more, including other division races when we come back. Keep it here on 90.7 The Capstone.
WVUA-FM, Tuscaloosa.
Welcome back, Tuscaloosa, to Student Section MLB here on 90.7 FM, the Capstone. Once again, I am Will Miller, joined tonight by
Luke Torre.
And Carson Keel.
And we are not going to leave you hanging. But before we went to last break, we did allude to what I will call just a plain bad tweet by the Chicago Cubs last night. And they're in a series right now in Miami at Lone Depot Park with the Marlins. And as promised, we are going to talk to you guys about that tweet. So last night...
Let me just say, this is not a terrible or bad tweet. This is a horrific tweet.
That's
That's a great way to put it.
For those seeking context, and everybody should be, because that's important. This is the week that 6 years ago, Miami Marlins star pitcher Jose Fernandez was killed in a boating accident. And obviously one of the saddest incidents in recent memory for baseball, for sports as a whole, I would think, for so many communities,
100%.
both the U.S. internationally.
I remember it was yesterday.
Yeah, me too. And so with that having been said, and that in mind, and with the Cubs being where they are, well, last night, I don't know what happened to cause this, what David Bodie did to cause this. David Bodie's a player for the Cubs. And so the Cubs tweeted something with the caption, I don't know if it was a hit or a home run, that said, "Nighttime Bodie rides in Miami," with the greater than sign. And we can see why that is terrible.
Yeah, that either is an intern who had no idea about the context or someone who was... Look, I like when teams...
I could see where you can go wrong with that.
Yeah, but I like when accounts get really edgy. I like that. I think it makes them a lot more fun.
That's not edgy. That's just bad taste.
Yeah, it's really bad taste. Yeah, that's like maybe you could get away with it like later, like not later, but earlier in like the season. But yeah, you should have, unless you didn't know. That's really bad.
Yeah, and it's still bad even if you didn't know, because people are going to think you did, and that's horrendous. I can't stomach that, knowing the impact that what happened to him has had, and even just the fact in and of itself that, this is a person that tragically had his life cut short. And the Cubs know this. The tweet was deleted. It's not still up there, but
to be fair, we don't know. Yeah. We don't see the replies for. And have the Cubs even put out anything in response to apologizing or
no?
Okay, yeah,
average Cubs.
Yeah, I'm starting to think they knew what they were doing.
Wow, that's even worse. That's almost worst case scenario right there.
Yeah.
But hey, they got their 63rd win yesterday, so there's that.
You know what? Yeah.
Still not going to play the playoffs.
Sure, yeah. But with that out of the way, one of the bigger social media blunders that I've seen in a recent while, and going to the University of Alabama, there are plenty of them that you can see if you know where to look. But anyhow, with putting that subject to bed, moving on to even more division races, because we've still got the most mid team in the playoffs is going to come out of the AL Central, and that's still very much a pennant race right now, guys.
Yeah, I mean, look, all the AL. I won't say. Well, let me not say all the AL, because the AL West is basically wrapped up. But AL Central, 5 games behind Cleveland, is the Chicago White Sox. So that's a very probable race right there. And then New York Yankees only have a 5.5 game lead against Toronto. So we're not exactly wrapping up anything yet. We're going to see clinching starting to happen, where at worst case scenario you can stay as the last seed. Yeah. But no one has a flag yet to wave around.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I don't see the team that comes out of there doing much in the playoffs. I mean, mid may be a little bit of an overt way to put things, but I don't see any team out of that division going long. And I don't think that division's been good in a while.
Well, let me say this: they have the worst record for any division team, leading team right now, 81-67. The next one that would match that, I think, is St. Louis in the NL Central. Funny enough, they're opposite, 87 wins, 62 losses. So, again, a little closer, yeah, but still quite a few games apart.
The key, though, is this. Winning your division is going to get you in. Now, with that said, the AL Central is not going to be sending a wild card team. For anybody out there curious, the AL Central will not be sending a team to the wild card. That's where we take it now to the American League East, where we do expect that teams will be representing at the wild card level.
Because the Orioles could damn near win that division.
Yeah. The AL Central, yes.
I mean, look, I don't think Baltimore and Boston are exactly going to be making it into the playoffs at this point. Boston 100% not. But
That's a later segment.
yes. But
that
Tampa
brings
Bay,
so much joy to my heart.
Toronto, New York, they could all be in the playoffs. And then, of course, you have to have Houston. Seattle's probably might be making an appearance. They're basically sitting on a wild card only spot at this point. Yeah. And then Cleveland, who knows, they could be in a fight with Chicago to the bitter end for their spot. So the AL East could be basically the majority of who we see in the playoffs.
That's true. We're going to see the Yankees, probably the Rays, and probably the Blue Jays, and then your two West teams in the Central winter. So, well, you know what? We've had this conversation before, but let's switch to a different team. We talked about which AL East team that's going to go do we think has the best chance at upending things in October. Let's switch gears. Let's talk about the Seattle Mariners. How do we feel about the way they're looking these days?
You know me. That's my dark horse team. I've said it every week on this show. That's my dark horse team going far in the playoffs. I think, unless they play my Yankees, I think that's my sleeper.
I don't think so, and I'm going to explain myself very simply. The Mariners are going to be on the backs of Robbie Ray. Yeah. And name a worse pitcher in the first inning in baseball this season.
Can't give you one.
There's not. And if he can't clean that up,
Garrett Cole.
They're gonna go out of the gate.
He tore spider tack.
I mean, you got to look past Robbie Ray though.
They're gonna go out of the gate, and they've had other players show up. Taylor Gilbert's another great example.
Logan Gilbert,
but that's going to be a big crux of their momentum, whether their number one starter can go out there and get the job done. And he's not proven to me this season that he can. And the Mariners, to me, are a team that very much needs wind in their sails momentum-wise if they're going to win anything in the postseason.
Look, if the Mariners want to make it past the wild card round, which I highly doubt, I'm with you. I can't see them going any more than that. They're basically going to need to be the hottest team in baseball. And that's a long shot for them.
They have been.
Well, look, they are a super hot and cold team. They're lucky that they're playing in a super weak division, so that helps them a lot. But they're going to have to be the hottest team, hotter than the Braves last year in the playoffs.
Who do they have down the stretch for the regular season?
I can look at that real quick.
Yeah, the Mariners were a big disappointment at the beginning of the year. They came within a game and a bit of help at the playoffs last season. And for those that don't know, the Mariners are currently in the longest playoff drought for any of the four North American major sport leagues. 21 years since they've been in the playoffs, and that's the longest gap out of anybody in the league. So it definitely in the major leagues. And so they had that chip on their shoulder this year to end that. After as close as they were last year, couldn't get the job done while it happens. But this year they trudged out of the gate. First 50 games or so, they were below 500, and then they heated up, won 14 straight, leading into the All-Star break, and now they've totally flipped the fortunes on their season.
Yeah, but again, they've kind of cooled off ever since then. So it's kind of like, are we going to get that 14-game streak Mariners? Or are we going to get something else?
Yeah, and I think that a big part of getting that win in their sails and the momentum I was mentioning earlier is going to be about winning the regular season series that they do have left.
So speaking of that, they play Oakland twice, one away, one at home. They're at Kansas City. They play Texas at home. And the Oakland series that I already talked about. And then they're ending the season with a 4-game home series against Detroit. So not exactly great teams they're playing.
And they need to heat up, and they could win most of those games. And if they do that, they could. What's their win total right now?
I want to say it was maybe 81. It's 81-66.
Yeah, okay. Well, that could be a great way to set themselves up, and they could bump one of those, AL East teams become the 5 spot in the wild card picture.
A good way to talk about other teams in that same situation. Let's shift into done, not done.
Yeah, well, first, before that, I want to talk about the news out of Kansas City today because I would be remiss if I didn't.
Yes.
Kansas City has made a big front office change. They hired Mike Matheny as manager a couple of years ago, and he, has been very successful. Haven't seen many results with the Royals. Now, he's not out.
Yeah.
But they have made a change of president of baseball operations.
Yeah, Dayton Moore is out as president of baseball ops. I don't think he had any. I think that's basically was his title. I don't think he did anything. Yeah, he did not do anything. They had a general manager who also kind of worked with them. But I'm kind of surprised they didn't take both out. I thought they would maybe clean house a little bit in that department and kind of go through and make a switch.
This kind of tells me they're doing moves more for optics because they are a small market team, and in baseball we know how that goes. You have windows.
Well, they also have brand new ownership.
That's true.
So they probably picked a scapegoat. Dane Moore, who's kind of, you could say he's kind of got I want to say the more front facing job when it comes to baseball operations. So you let him go and you get someone else. But again, I would think if you're going to do that, it's best to go and get rid of both parties, which kind of sucks. But you probably need a brand new kind of MO when it comes to how you want to go things.
I agree. Probably not one of the more optimal moves the Royals could have made. But with that out of the way, let us shift into done, not done, because as the weeks go by, and really this show and next week's show is going to be the most interesting as we wrap up September. So done, not done. Who is still in it, guys?
All right, Chicago.
White Sox.
White
Right?
Sox, of course.
Yeah.
Done.
I'm 50-50. I'm going to say not done for the moment, but this could change next week.
I'm saying done.
Yeah, the 5-game gap is too much. I thought it was like 3.5. The 5-game gap right now is too much. They aren't going to be able to string together enough. We are at a timetable in this season. It is too late. It's too late.
We've seen crazier things happen.
Philadelphia.
Very much alive, in my opinion.
Yeah, it still sucks to say that, but here we are. I think they're probably going to get a wild card spot. I think they're basically locked in for it at this point.
And having Bryce Harper come back as he has been a big aspect to the Phillies, which is exactly what they signed him for, the biggest contract at that time. So, yeah, the Phillies are in it. They're going to end a 10-year drought of their own. The last time they were in the postseason was 2012 when Ryan Howard tore his hamstring on a meaningless leg out and changed the trajectory of that organization for the next decade. We can dive into that during the offseason when we've got more time to delve into tangents like that. Next team.
Let's go with the Baltimore Orioles.
Done. Moist, sad, but
I was rooting for them.
They didn't have the starting pitching, and that's it. Postseason, we've said it for 3 weeks. For the 3 weeks we've been on the air here, pitching matters. They didn't have it. They've really never had it for the postseason. The bullpen, by the way, been fantastic, and I like what I see out of DL Hall, which one of their prize prospects just got called up, but they weren't ready. Mateo has gone ice cold, which, he had that showing in that Little League game with the Red Sox, and then he's fallen off the face of the planet since then. And again, this is not a slight to the players. They made a tremendous step this season and should be commended. It wasn't the time, and
they're treading in the right direction.
It's still a great run. They're going to be a winning team.
Yep.
I think they got 75 wins right now. Or 74?
76.
Ah, okay. So, yeah, they're likely going to be a winning team unless the second, third, and fourth wheels just totally fall off.
Yep.
But they're done for the playoffs this season.
Final team, I got the Brewers.
Yeah, I said done last week. I'm still leaning that way.
79 and 70.
But you have to say not done just because of the gap of where the Cardinals are.
Yep.
I mean, the Cardinals are a very solid team.
Yeah.
And the Brewers, I think, are not. I think there are intangibles the Cardinals have that the Brewers lack. But that may not matter when it comes to win totals. It may be that, 2 wins is not a lot. You could swing one way or the other, in a half a week.
Also, if you're saying the Phillies, you're saying the Phillies weren't done, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. Milwaukee's a game behind the Phillies.
Do the Cardinals and Brewers have a date the rest of the season?
I got to correct that. It's actually 2 games.
My apologies.
But it's that. Now I'm looking at that. I'm starting to wonder.
One behind in the win column.
Do they? Do they have another? Are they playing each other again this year?
I don't.
The Cardinals and the Brewers.
The Cardinals and the Brewers.
Well, I can tell you the Braves.
Yes, they are. The Cardinals play the Brewers in a 2-game series next Tuesday, Wednesday.
Ooh.
So that'll be perfect for this.
Well, we will be able to break down that series for you guys on next Wednesday's student section, because it'll have been maybe not wrapped up by then, but if not, game 2 will be going on, and worst comes to worst, we can provide you with some sporadic updates. Right. We're going to wrap this thing up tonight with our AL and NL Players of the Week, and I think we just need to go ahead and get the elephant in the room out. Let's talk about the AL Player of the Week, Arron Judge.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
it's unanimous. It's got to be.
Everyone's expecting 62 is going to be this week. So
it'll probably be at 62.
Now hit 61 while we were in studio tonight. I'm still a little bit miffed about that.
He's getting up soon again.
Oh man.
But
look, It's like last week. It's unanimous, and no one has a second other option. I mean, Judge is just too hot right now. It seriously is.
And at this point, I think the debate's got to be over. He's winning MVP.
Yes.
At this point, there is no way.
I didn't even see the way go down that rabbit hole again.
There is absolutely no way Shohei Ohtani takes this MVP from Arron Judge.
Yeah, I mean, look, if Shohei wasn't on the Angels, this might be a bit of a different story.
I agree.
But again, it's Judge's award. I mean, barring the worst, which again I highly doubt, it's his. This might be the first time we see 100% vote go his way.
Well, it would be deserved. And now let's switch gears to the NL Player of the Week. I have a little bit of an outside-the-box choice just because that's the way I wanted to go. I'm going to give it to Travis d'Arnaud, catcher for the Atlanta Braves. Had a couple of home runs, 3 home runs in like the last 5 or 6 days. Had even more RBIs. So I'm going to give it to him. He has shown to be pretty reliable even in spots you might not expect him to, and he continues to do that. So that's why he's Player of the Week right now.
I'm going to say Yu Darvish, 2-0 in 14 innings. He had 15 strikeouts for so I think, I mean, he's a great week as a
postseason projections for him?
I mean, he's always been decent in the playoffs.
Except 2016 when the Blue Jays just totally shellacked.
Yeah.
That's one of the roughest playoff pitching outings, if not the roughest I've ever witnessed.
Yes.
Hence, usually. But, yeah, I mean, I could see him shutting some teams down in the playoffs if he gets multiple starts.
Yes. All right. I am going to go with Ronald Acuna Jr., another Braves player. He's had a pretty hot few days. Yeah, 7 hits, 2 home runs, 7 RBI. I mean, look, he's had a pretty slow year this year. There's rumors of injuries possibly playing a factor into this, but he's had a good week. Hopefully that's a sign when it comes to playoff times. He is going to be there 100%.
All right. Now
that's an MVP caliber guy right there when he's on form. And that's going to do it for week 3 of Student Section MLB. What?
We go next. Our predictions for next week's Player of the Weeks. We got time for that or no?
Yeah, we got a minute. Yeah, we can go into that. A little awkward there. My apologies. But, let's go into predictions for Player of the Week. If Judge hits 62.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going Judge again. We're all going Judge again for AL.
Yeah,
NL, I'm going to go a little sleeper. I'm going to go Spencer Strider. I think he's going to...
I'll go with Ronald Acuna Jr. for the NL to take it from Carson.
All right, I'm going to go with Lucas here. I'm going to take Spencer Strider also. He's due for a good time.
I agree. I couldn't agree more, guys. Well, that is going to wrap things up for week 3 of Student Section MLB here on WVUA FM. We thank you so much for tuning in, and come back next Wednesday. We'll have a lot for you on 90.7 FM, The Capstone. I'm Will Miller,
Luke Torre,
and Carson Keel.
Have a good night, Tuscaloosa.
WVUA FM, Tuscaloosa.